when you're that age and you're like, you feel misunderstood or not listened to by anybody, still love wins. I want to share joy. I want to share happiness. The joy that I found in my own self is like, it's a daily thing that we have to show up for our own selves. Every day is a new day that you can learn new things, experience new things. You just have to be open to it.
Hey guys, it's Angela with the Angela Rose Show, where we unveil stories of religious abuse. Today, I have a guest. Her name is Jamie. She is a friend that I met how many years ago, Jamie?
About 7.
Okay. We met at a women's entrepreneur, like a small retreat for female entrepreneurs, where we went through like a John Maxwell book.
Right.
Yeah. And never met before. And we're going to dive into a little bit of our first time together just as an introduction today. So, Jamie, I remember when we were at the retreat, I was feeling a little nervous, and I seen you right away, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to get to know her. I just felt like drawn to you. And
I remember giving you a big hug right when you walked in. You drove
yeah.
how many hours?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was. You just came right up to me, gave me a big hug, and I'm like, okay, I like this woman. Then that night, they just kind of like as an icebreaker, I think soon right away.
It was that evening, yeah.
Yeah, we were invited to go off in like groups of 2.
Right.
And we found each other instantly
Right.
for the first, what was it called that we did? Like introduction, I think.
Yeah. Just to get there. I think it was an icebreaker, and they wanted us to do to go in separately, go in anywhere quiet, and they gave us a mirror, and we're supposed to look in the mirror and give ourselves affirmations. And
so yeah,
we both started laughing.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that we were just supposed to go to find a mirror in the house, look in the mirror, and say something positive to ourselves in the mirror, like with one person as a witness.
Right.
And so Jamie and I found each other, went off to a bedroom where there was a mirror, and we sat there and start laughing instantly. And then I don't think we didn't know what to say, so we started saying like, I see shame. We were being very like...
We were being raw, honest with each other.
We were
from
just
the
up front.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like, I love myself. It was more like,
no.
I could hardly look at this person in the mirror today.
Yeah.
And I think one of us was, we were laughing and then crying.
Yeah, at the same time.
At the same time. Yeah. I'm like, okay. I think I found my soul.
But that was
a soul friend.
You always, whenever you're in a group of people or meeting somebody, whether it's a party or wherever you're at, you seem to draw to 1 or 2 people, and then they seem to be part of your tribe connection for the long haul if you choose to, pursue their relationship.
Right.
And you and I and another lady from the retreat, Lisa, we've stayed in contact with each other all this time. We've intentionally stayed close to each other.
Yes.
Which I'm so thankful for.
Yeah, which brings us to today. And I have to say one more thing about at the retreat. Like, I have a hard time personally coming from I come from a religious community, and I have a hard time trusting people from religious backgrounds due to a lot of my past trauma. And when I met Jamie, I learned that you grew up in Chicago. You did not come from a religious community. And that was another reason I was drawn to you. I felt, I think, more quickly like comfortable to share with you because of that difference of culture, and also very curious about your story. Right. And as we were, at the retreat, like showing up together, it intrigued me how, I originated from the Mennonite community and you grew up on the streets of Chicago. And within 5 minutes of meeting, we were laughing and crying, like
Mhm.
we had this deep
It was, yeah,
connection.
instant.
And I said, I know that we both know pain,
Mm,
and that's where connection and authentic relationships are so I value deeply,
right.
right? And, I just I think your story is really important, Jamie. Your perspective has always been very inspiring to me because you found faith later, not being raised in a faith family or culture. You found it to be very meaningful to you later. And that was very powerful to me, when I met you, is your authentic, genuine understanding of spirituality through the journey.
Mm,
And your story, is going to inspire so many people, and I'm ready to dive into it. I'm just so excited. So,
okay.
yeah. Where do you want to start?
That's,
Back history.
so, like you said, I was born in Chicago, north side of Chicago, more like ghetto-ish. A lot of gang members, like surrounding area. Yeah, gangs everywhere. Latin Kings, just a lot of heavy troubles everywhere. Um, my mom was an alcoholic. I never knew my dad. My mom had 4 children, all by different men. Um, my mom told me that her dad was a Methodist minister. That she only told me that, like,
Really?
yeah, and she didn't like talk about it a lot. There was like 7 in her family, but she
Interesting.
was like the black sheep. She was the last child, and she never, as soon as she became like 16, 17, she was out, and she got pregnant with my older sister, and her because of never finding herself as a woman, she turned to alcohol. And maybe, I'm sure it was because of her upbringing. Her dad was a Methodist minister, but I think he had turned. So then, as a young person, you're looking to your family for like stability, guidance, and if it's not a solid relationship to begin with, you're already on the wrong, you're going to be on the wrong path unless you really do work on yourself. And she didn't. She chose alcohol, she chose men, and but I must say, she did the best she could for the alcoholic that she was. I know she loved me and her other children. She just didn't love herself.
Hmm.
So she didn't know how. She would give gifts
Right?
to me and my siblings. And I think today I still show love through giving. Everybody would know that. And I'm learning that I don't have to do that. I can just love, but I'm still at 63 learning how to love myself. But, so that being said, raised in Chicago, I was, at 11, I was raped by several young men. Um, a lot of the gang members would pursue me because I was young, and so they would know that if you're not getting the love you need at home for the most part in our area. I'm not saying that for everybody, but at least my household. So I'm at 11 looking for attention anywhere I can get it.
Right.
And it would be through a man or young boys or whatever. And that's what happened. They started pursuing me, offering me things at a young age, and I would go with them and started running away. So my, there's buses that go to Chicago every Sunday to pick up kids to go to Sunday school.
Okay.
It's Hammond, Indiana. It's the world's largest Sunday school. 200 buses go
Are
to
you
Chicago
serious?
every Sunday. So there was a young couple that worked in the bus ministry that would pick up kids to go to Sunday school. So on Saturday, they would, have their route. They would go knock on doors, and no child wants to go, or at least we didn't want to go to church. Who wants to go to church on Sunday? We got all day to play. So they had a gimmick. So if this one particular Saturday, they knock on the door and they're like, if you chase a chicken, you get $5. if you go to church, after church, you're going to, go get, this chicken and you're going to get $5. And I'm like, some farmer in Indiana lost all his chickens and I'm going to be rich.
Okay.
So my brother's coming with, and we're going to have so much money. We're going to get my mom out of Chicago, and I can't wait. I couldn't sleep. And so we get on the bus to go to church, and after church was over, the buses take us to one park. There's one greased chicken for the boys and one greased chicken for the girls. And I was heartbroken because it wasn't a farmer in Indiana who lost his chickens. That was all made up in my head.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed, and I didn't get the chicken. My brother didn't get the chicken. And I said, you guys are liars. They didn't lie to me. I just didn't listen.
Right.
So following Saturday, they knocked on the door and they said, we're giving away goldfish. And I was like, what is it, a grease goldfish?
You're testing them out.
Yeah.
You're like,
so,
I'm gonna test these
very
people out.
sarcastic. So I didn't go for a long time. I just started following after just whoever would pay attention to me. School, I would skip school as much as possible.
Okay. You would have went to the local
Just the public schools. Yeah, they were. And then even public schools, I'm not sure how many public schools I went to because my mom was always moving.
Right.
She was, on welfare. She sometimes she worked, sometimes she didn't. She had become deaf in one ear, and so she had, a disability. But if she did work, it would be factory or waitress work. But it wasn't very often that she was working. Schools, I went to so many different schools. I remember being in school and all of a sudden, I would see a teacher open the door and she would look at me and it would be time to go. Meaning she would just there would be a car full of our stuff. She, would live off the security deposit and then not have enough money and go move to another place. And so it was time to move, time to change schools in a different area. And so I never was able to really form any bond with people or anybody for that matter. It was always it wasn't in the same area, just there were schools all over the place, just,
disruptive zone.
Trying to start all over again. But the gangs, they were all still in the same area, still pursuing.
Did you join a gang at one point?
So I was, if joining, meaning that I guess you would call me like a peewee, Latin. They call them the Latin kings, Latin queens, kings, that's,
yes.
That was like a big deal. So the other part of that is that if you were a part of that, like the gangs, you would have protection. So because of the violence all around, being a young girl, they would be like, because of you could get raped anywhere. Not just women or girls, boys as well.
Right.
But yeah, so if you had their protection, they would say, nobody will hurt you, nobody will bully you, because we're your protection. And
right.
And they would be your protection. You would feel secure with them, but they were actually abusing,
right,
their power in order to get. So they would groom me or a young boy for prostitution later. Boys for, obviously it's all directed towards. They gave my brother and I what they would call nickel bags, little envelopes with pot in it. And we would take it down to the lake and sell it because they weren't looking for children then to sell. They were adults would sell the pot or drugs. So the police wouldn't look at children like they were drug pushers. So we we made them proud selling for them. Not sure how I stopped doing that, but back to the church people, they would come and knock on the door and my mom would be crying that I hadn't come home. I ran. So they were, she was crying to them, help me, to, she just wanted to help. She didn't know what to do with me. Like I said, I know she loved me, but I was uncontrollable.
Hmm. So what point, where at in this experience then did you end up in Texas? At what age was that?
That's always
How
like,
did you go from Chicago to Texas?
yeah, that's always like because I'm being like on drugs at early age. There's a lot of things I don't remember as far as the timeline. It's all like so much happened in so little time.
Was there something in the time yet in Chicago yet in the timeline that we were going to dive into before Texas?
So the church people had told my mom, so that this particular couple that took an interest in me, that worked in my bus route, Jackie and Denny Keniston, they had a real, not just, it wasn't just their job. They really took an interest in me as a person, and told my mom about this home in Corpus Christi, Texas. Lester Roloff opened this home for men, women, boys, girls, nonprofit organization. So there was the girls' home was a dormitory of 200, and beautiful plush carpet, piano, just a beautiful home. Even though it was a locked facility, it was discipline and love. So one particular during the week, I saw the church car, which shouldn't have been, it stands out because of our area, that there's something different. And I said to my friends, if somebody if somebody takes me out the door or something, I knew something was up, like get them,
Yes.
and so the church people were smart. They had walked out the front door without me and pulled around back. And when I went in the house, there was a suitcase, and my mom was crying, and she had signed a piece of paper that she was allowing me to go to Corpus Christi, Texas, and she had to sign that I would stay there a year, which that's, I mean, I think I was like 12. It seemed like 12, somewhere around that area. So they pulled around back. They tied my hands with nylons. Because they were trying to get a hold of me, just to hold, and, pulled me around back, and I'm screaming and kicking, and, I'm not going anywhere. I broke the seat. They got me in there, and my friends were out front, they had no idea that I'm getting hauled away. So I remember, they got me to the airport, and I remember the security guard saying, you can't have her tied up.
Yeah.
No so
kidding.
so, but I still kicked and screamed and yelled, and they had the paper that, I eventually calmed down. I remember them trying to read the Bible to me on the plane.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, it's not the time.
No.
I got to Corpus Christi, and they took, my pants away. It was a Baptist home.
Really?
Yeah. I
was going to ask.
Yeah.
So this is a Baptist
Baptist,
Corpus Christi
yeah.
school for girls
Right.
that are just dealing with stuff.
So it was for girls and boys. Like I said, there's different homes for different. This was a farm. The dormitory for girls was on the farm. The boys' home was in another part of Texas, Zapata. There was a lighthouse for 18. I'm not sure the boys' home, but like people would come from all over the world, Africa,
Really?
preachers' kids, court people that had, instead of going to jail, they would take them.
Interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, Lester Roloff, he had such a heart after just people, and wanted to, and so there was a lot of volunteers giving their time. There was paid workers, but I don't eat meat today or pork because of the place. It was because they had to feed all these mouths. So they fished off the Intercoastal Canal. So we ate fish and chicken. We had chickens on the farm. So
Wow.
I'm 63 now, and I've not eaten meat since I'm 12, I think, and I'm healthy. So
Yeah, you
but
are.
so very health minded. So not only is it health minded for their food was like, good stuff, healthy foods. So a lot of us that came were abused through drugs, alcohol, sexually, or they were raised as preachers' kids and just rebellious. So everybody had a different story.
People dealing with dysfunctional homes, religion or
Yeah,
non-religion.
and just
Yeah.
it's like thrown in a big pot. So just the
Interesting.
different,
Wow.
yeah. So there was like 3 girls to a room. I learned how to make a bed. I learned how to play the guitar. I learned how to sing. Very disciplined, very disciplined.
Lots of structure compared to where you'd come from.
I didn't know nothing about discipline.
How was that? Like coming from, just running on the streets with no sense of safety and
It
structure
was-
to like a lot of rigid structure.
Yeah, it was. You're not going to tell me what to do.
You pushed them a bit.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah. But there was so much love. Love wins.
Right.
Love wins all the time. I mean, you have to have love and discipline. They have to be together.
Right.
And so if somebody just keeps loving and loving and loving, and you're so mean and hard, and I was just, I can't even like be like mean. Like I don't even have that in me anymore. It's not just because of age, just love wins. And they just kept loving and loving and loving. And I'd be screaming and they would just love, and obviously, they're not going to like take a lot, they would put you in like a room, like you don't need to corrupt like the situation, or the peace that we have. But eventually you'll get on board, whether you turn your life over to Jesus or you don't. You have to serve your time there. You have to, all the things that they do.
If you were to say one pro and one con, like what would you say? What did you say you took away from that experience, and what would you say would have been like, like this part of it was hard because I didn't feel understood? Would you have a perspective one way or the other after that 1 year there?
Well, I took away that I accepted Jesus in my heart. That's what
So that's where you learned of faith first.
That's what I took away, which was the beginning of my whole life being changed.
Okay.
As far as like when you're that age and you're like you feel misunderstood or not listened to by anybody, it's like I said, still love wins. Just listening, they really took the time. Now a lot of I'm on that there's a Rebecca home for girls because I was in both homes. I was in the home for girls under 17 and girls over 17. So I was in both homes, but
Got it.
I don't really have anything. You said negative, is that or
Yeah.
I really don't, because if it wasn't for that place, I wouldn't be sitting here today. That place changed my life.
So that's the turning point.
So after like I was in Texas about 6-7 months is when I finally like broke that I had asked the Lord to come in my heart, and then I started like changing like openly. Like then I got in the choir. I always wanted to be a rock star.
Okay.
And I didn't realize I couldn't even sing.
But you loved it, right?
I loved to sing, but I never knew like how to sing.
Yeah. So I want to take a quick second to encourage you guys to like, share, and comment here on our YouTube channel. It helps to push our channel out to reach more people, which is our goal for this show. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So I joined the choir, and obviously you have to like be a certain, had been doing well for a while. They don't just like put you in the choir. That it really is a privilege.
Okay.
And also the privilege of being in the choir is that we would travel and sing. We had a bus.
Oh.
So the preacher had a twin engine plane. So he would go in the plane with the trio, and he would meet us at any given church. So say we would go to North Carolina, South Carolina. We would have like a 2-week trip, and there would probably be about 40 of us. And also then we would go in pairs, like to go to people's houses, like you and I go to somebody's house, and they'd have a list of rules that they would give to the whoever took us, to their home. Like you couldn't,
Yeah.
have certain things. And
Mm.
then when we get back on the bus, they'd be like, "Did you get to have chocolate?" It was so fun. I mean,
Right.
because some people that you stayed with, would give in, and some people would just be really strict. No, it says you can't have.
Right.
We formed a bond with our whoever you paired up with to spend the night. So you got close to girls. Like I would be with a preacher's daughter. So you'd shared. I learned about like different. I learned about girls becoming women. I mean, even at 13, learning how to have a healthy relationship with a girl
Yeah.
that I didn't have in Chicago, because it was always like either cutthroat, who's like prettier, or who has like the best Converse shoes, or so
Right.
it was a different form of relationship. So there's so many different aspects of Texas that I got to experience that were so healthy that I had no idea.
It broadened your perspective of
And the families that we got to stay, in their homes, we'd go to the church, and that's how the church, the home stayed open, that people would support us because it was nonprofit. So that was, our bread and butter, by us going to sing, giving our testimony of what has changed, and then people giving to the home's Lester Roloff ministry. So that was such a great experience, learning how to sing, to go on tour and go to different people's homes. And, that was like so incredible. That was the best time of my life. And, so after the year was up, it's time to go home.
Yeah.
And, it was kind of twofold, because, what am I going home to? I mean, my mom was still sitting at the table drunk. My friends had moved on, meaning were dead, had needles up their arms. Women had become prostitutes, or in jail or dead. Yeah, it was so from happy singing to dark and despair. I remember my mom we only had one bedroom, but I remember her letting me have the one bedroom, and she slept on the couch. And I remember using a box and putting a towel over a box like it was my little nightstand. And I was trying to make it like in Texas, like having like a clean, I put my Bible there, and it was just, I was trying to like reenact what I had in Texas. But I was missing the surroundings. We're the product of our environment, and the environment that I had then at that age, I needed help. Even though I was equipped with everything that I learned, but I couldn't do it by myself.
Right.
And, the church was on Sunday. They came and picked me up, and I was ready to go. But that's not enough. That's not enough. That's not enough for an adult, let alone a child.
Right.
So, but I didn't think I was a child.
Right.
I was a big girl. I was a woman.
You had no choice but to be
Right.
grown up.
So, it didn't take very long, Angela, till I, because like, who you, Miss Christian, yeah, it didn't take very long for me to fall hard, because, if I'm going to do bad, I might as well just go all out.
Yeah.
So, I started doing drugs, like, not like I didn't shoot up or anything, but I was more into like speed and like drugs. I don't even remember what they were now, but it was heavier than just smoking pot,
Right.
which, just an escape.
Yeah.
And then, my mom would, for saying, I would say, "Yes, ma'am," when I first came back. "Don't yes, ma'am me," she said.
Wow.
And I was like, that's what I went for.
Yeah. Right.
And now, so then when I fell, meaning I just had went like opposite of where I felt like I was when I came home.
Right.
Then she would say, "Oh, well, that didn't last very long. Apparently you just lied about everything that you learned." And so
Mm.
then now I'm really confused.
Wow.
Yeah.
Confused is the word.
Like, who am I?
Yeah.
You know, am I a good Christian girl, or am I a bad
Mm.
little brat, or like, I don't know who I am.
Mm.
And, you know, I didn't, the young couple, Jackie and Danny Kennison, they helped me through phone calls and things like that, but I needed somebody to be there for me, like all the time.
Right.
And I didn't have that. So, I got worse. And then
Mm.
I think it was like, so that's why I don't understand the timeline.
Mhm.
I think I went back again to Texas. It was only for a short time. Usually you're only allowed to go there once because it's a nonprofit and there's so many people that need help
Mm.
that they don't really would take you again.
Oh.
But I called the preacher and he said, you know, he remembered me, and I don't really know why that I was like picked out. I had been picked out a lot of times in my life, meaning that maybe because I make myself known that he remembered me and said, yeah, you could come back.
Hmm.
So I came back, and it was only for a short bit. I think it was like maybe 3 months or something. And then I left. Like I said, I don't remember the timeline, but when I came back home, I had moved out. I got my own apartment. I was tired of living with my mom, and I moved in right up I got some fake IDs.
Mhm.
I worked at a little restaurant, and got fake IDs and worked at the restaurant. And then a girl came in that was a nightclub dancer, and she's like, "Hey, if you want to make some money, you can. I know the owner of a bar downtown, and you can dance."
Mhm.
I'm like, "I don't know how to dance." She's like, "It's not really dancing."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "What kind of money are we talking about?" She goes, "Well, as much money as you want to make."
Huh.
So I said, "Okay." So I started, went downtown, and I remember this one room that was full of all these costumes, you know, and lingerie. And I had taken a lot of speed, so I was always kind of a little chunky-ish, but I lost a lot of weight with these pills that I took.
Mm.
And again, the self-esteem,
Yeah.
you know, you always want it to be like skinny.
Mm.
And I was never really into like makeup. I wasn't really dressy. I was always like tomboyish, but I had to dress up here,
Right.
you know. And I remember so you would go up and put some music on and dance around this pole. And I felt so, I remember having those men look at me feeling so shameful, you know, like it was, I already felt bad in my own self, but I mean, obviously it made me feel worse. Maybe some women would feel like they're looking at me,
Right.
but I felt so helpless, shameful. And I thought, man, you know, in one part of my head, it was like, oh, you're going to make all this money,
Mhm.
you know, you could have this and that. And then the other hand was like, oh, this is not who I want to be.
Right.
So one man, so at the bar, when they say a guy wants you to have, he wants to talk to you,
Right.
get done dancing. So you sit at the bar, and there's straws. So however many like drinks you have, there's different color straws at the end of the night. That's how much money you would get by the colored straws. How much,
Okay.
you know, conversation. Now, if they buy you a bottle of wine, you have to go in the back.
Right.
And I remember a man wanted to buy me a bottle of wine.
Mm.
And I ran to the back dressing room, and I said to the girls, "What do I do?" And they're like, "Don't be so dumb." And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
The bottle of wine, they have to open the wine. You have to drink the wine. The cups on the bar, they weren't with that. They weren't alcohol. They were just like water or something. It was just the straws that we were counting for the money. But
Huh.
they're going to open this wine, and you're going to get wined and dined. Haha. Or dined or wined. So, so I came back, and after they said, "Don't be dumb," and I started telling the guy my life story.
I love you. This is why I love you. You're too good for that. Yeah.
I was like, my mom was an alcoholic, and
Yeah.
these guys are from conventions.
You were going for the real connection.
Yeah, they don't want to know my life story. They want some, I don't know.
They
what
just
they
wanted sex.
They
and
want
you're-
yeah. So
and you're
yeah.
like, this is who I
I'm
am.
like, my mom's an alcoholic. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, and
I love that.
he went
Yeah.
to the bartender, and he's like, I want a different girl.
I'm fascinated by this story. You told me this story soon after we met, and I just think there's a lot to be said about that. And it's so much what's so right about you that in that environment that it just really intrigues me how you actually, you got your way out of that situation by your authenticity, because authenticity don't mix too well with that lifestyle, does it?
Doesn't. No, it doesn't.
And it weeded you out quick.
Yeah.
Which is just,
well, your own heart condemns you.
yeah.
I mean, and that's biblical as well. I mean, if you're, to him that doeth, what's up? If to him that knoweth to do good and doesn't do it, to you, it's so. That was going against, even though this environment definitely that I was in isn't the environment that I should be in.
Right.
I am seeking in any way. At that point,
You were intuitively, finding your way, and it's incredible to me how you have that intuition of and then also that choice of like, wow, this isn't for me.
it was not for me. It was not for me. I yeah, I couldn't.
At the same time, you're in survival. You need money, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, you're still like, I need money. I gotta make ends meet. This is my only option.
And there's so many. There's so many out there that we're just like, we're all seeking. We're all seeking for to be heard, to be loved, to be cared for. I mean,
right.
We're all seeking. It doesn't matter if you have money, you were raised good, bad. I mean, however, we're all seeking truth. We're all seeking validation. We want to be heard. And, it starts from like our youth. And as we get older, it doesn't matter what you try to fill the void with until you really have found that peace within your heart. You're going to just keep seeking. So I kept seeking. I left the bar because they fired me in an easy way. They just said they didn't think it would be the right.
Wasn't the right fit.
It was,
and you're like, I'm fired.
Yeah, it wasn't the right fit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as time went on, I was still waitressing.
Okay.
As time went on, the drugs got a little harder. Because I'm still trying to like find who I am, and it wasn't in I wasn't going to church or anything, and so a man found me at the bar and started leaving me really big tips under the coffee cup. That's where they would leave me a tip. Sometimes they would leave me a joint, like put it under the coffee cup for a tip. Sometimes pills. Yeah. It was like it was a where they sell gyros, so it was just like a greasy spoon under the L tracks, and I worked 11 to 7. So all the like people from like alcoholics and stuff, drunks would come in, the night shift, and they would like be all partied out, and so one man kept leaving me lots of money under the coffee cup, and then he said he wanted to take me out. He was much older. Wow. I think he was like in 50 or something. And, I was 15. And he said that he would, I had an apartment already, but he said I was sharing it with a girl that he would get me my own apartment. And so right before that, though, it seemed like it was like planned. Right before that, a woman had came in about a week before, and she lived in a high rise on Lakeshore Drive in Chicago, and she wanted me to come over to her house, her apartment.
Mm.
So I went there, and it overlooked the whole Lake Michigan, and she had a Porsche,
Mm.
and she had all this stuff.
Mm.
She was a call girl.
Okay.
So prostitute, but
Right.
she called herself a call girl. Because I was like, how are you making all this money? And she said, well, I have business cards,
Mm.
and I am a call girl. She said, my clients are all who I choose. And she just like made it like it's all like so glamorous.
Right.
She had a pimp. And yeah, so, but she just said that, he was her protection.
Right.
So that was that. And then a week later, this man shows up. He had been coming in, leaving me tips, but
Mm.
he was a friend of, so it was like set up
Mm.
that they wanted me in their, like, I don't know.
The
Like
business.
yeah.
Getting you into the
It was,
business.
yeah. So, but I would be a young one, because she must have been like 20s.
Right. You're underage.
Yeah.
It's
I'm underage,
full-blown.
and men love it. They love the
Right.
underage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're more pure, and because I was so naive.
Right.
I
You were
mean,
vulnerable.
even, just like, the going to the booth when I was at the club. I'm like, what do I do? I didn't know.
Right.
And they're like, what are you so I started like, yeah, it's like I was being trained.
Right. You being
So, but I already knew I didn't want to do that, but this story seemed different.
Hmm.
Why did it seem different? Was it just the atmosphere? Like, call girl, what's the difference of giving your body? Because she's like, oh, well, she made it like it's not going to be so bad because it's your choice of people, your choice in money, your choice in all this stuff, different clientele. So she's making it like it's going to be you're high class,
Right.
instead of like the bar scene of you
Mm.
don't know these. It's all the same,
Right.
It's all the same. So
They were presenting the
they
appeal.
were. So I took him up on his offer, and I got the apartment that he got for me, and he got me a car. I had a Firebird, Camaro
Okay.
Firebird.
They bought you a car.
Yeah, I got a car. I thought I was whatever. So yeah, I got a car in the apartment, and one day I heard like some noises outside, and for some reason in my heart I thought that the Lord came back and I was like left behind. It was just some haunting thing. And I was like, I had all this stuff. I had money, I had a car, I had this nice place, but I was miserable. And I needed help. I wanted out. So I called the preacher again. So he said, just like in the Bible, sell everything. I drove the car to the guy's house. I parked it with the keys in it. And I don't even know how I got to wherever. I think I went to my mom's, and I got a bus and went back to Texas. I was miserable. All that stuff did not make me happy. I wanted to sing again. I wanted my joy back. So he let me back to Texas, but this time I was of age that I had to go to another home. It was like a home for women now and not girls. So so I remember saying that I'm here just for school. And they're like, no, you're not here for just school. But I did finish, I graduated, I finished 2 years of high school with academic Christian education, the PACES. You work at your own speed. And they had that because there's so many, girls and boys from all over are different. They drop out. So they had to have a curriculum that they can meet you where you're at.
Got it.
So I graduate, I go back to Chicago. But before when I graduated, the preacher wanted me to stay to travel with him, to be in the trio. He was going to pay my way to go to college if I stayed. I decided I'm going to go home. 3 weeks later, he died in the plane crash with the trio. And I was devastated because I know I would have been on that plane. There was no reason for me to go back to Chicago. I had nothing, so.
No kidding.
So obviously I thought, well, I blame God for one. I mean, why did he take somebody that this man helps like all these people? He helped me. I mean, so now what? Now what am I going to do? The home is probably not going to like it'll start probably falling apart because usually the man, even though you have people like, so now what am I going to do? I don't know what to do, where to go. I graduate, but there's nothing in Chicago for me. So, Jackie and Denny Keniston, the young couple that helped me in the beginning, we'd always stayed in contact. They moved to Pennsylvania and started a church, Charity Christian Fellowship. And they said, I contacted them and they said, why don't you come and visit? So I drove to Pennsylvania and they said if I wanted to stay, I could stay with them. I was shocked by the change because they were Baptists and they had became Mennonite and
Okay, so they originated from Baptists and they joined or started the
I
Charity
think
Christian
it was
Fellowship.
more like they felt like there was too much maybe liberalism among the Baptists, or I'm not exactly sure. I might be wrong on that. I just know that they wanted a closer, like raising their children like a healthy, more spiritual way of raising their children and are safe. I'm just all of it. I've never been a parent, so I don't, but I know that when you love your kids, you just want the best in any way possible. And for you. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how they came to Pennsylvania, but I came with a girlfriend and my girlfriend couldn't she could only stay like a day. She didn't handle the rules or nothing. She was like, I'm out of here. And
That's a big change from
yeah, she was like, because she had a mouth on her. She just couldn't bridle anything. She was just, you're in somebody's home. You need to respect. And she's like, so she left and I stayed. And then they just had a conversation. They said, you could stay here. You don't have to, there was no pressure. You don't have to dress like us. You can just stay here to get to figure out what you want to do with your life. It was a safe place. I knew they loved me. And just because of what they were wearing didn't change the fact that they helped me in my life. Yeah. If it wasn't for them reaching out to me saying, and we all need somebody to just say, let me help you. Let me show you. Let me show you a better way or, a better friend or let me take you anything. Just let's help each other. So they helped me and, so I trusted them. So I was like, okay, well, I didn't have any other plans. So I didn't feel threatened in any way. And so I stayed. And they went out on a date one night. And about 3 months after me living there. And I went in her closet and put on her clothes. Yeah. I put on her bonnet and her cape dress. And I thought, well, like what? When in Rome? I mean, I was going to the church and I just felt like it's just clothes.
Right.
And I remember her walking in the door saying, oh, you don't have to do that. I'm like, why not?
Right.
To me, it wasn't any big deal.
Right.
So I stayed with them for several years. I learned how to can. I learned so many healthy things, how to be more thrifty, just lessons in life that,
right.
I wish, we all wish we would have learned like earlier, but, every day is a new day that you can learn new things, experience new things. You just have to be open to it. So, I learned how to raise children. I didn't know at that time that I couldn't have any, but, it was good. So, but time went on and I felt like in my own heart that, like I would look at people, this is just in my own self, as far as the clothing,
right.
that they might not be going to heaven because of what they're wearing.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that it was like a brainwashing or anything. It's just like within me that, because I know a lot of people that are dressed certain ways and everything's fine with them. And I don't feel like they judge me or like how I look.
Right.
So, I took the cape dress off and the covering. I had moved out first. And I remember being at the bank and because I was like I still wasn't sure of myself.
Yeah.
I've been unsteady, unsure for a lot of years in my life.
Right.
Probably still today. But it's getting better. So I went to the bank and there was a Mennonite lady that was covered, like had the bonnet and cape dress on, and I said, what church do you go to? And I had been away from charity for a long time. And the Kenistons, I'd called them my mom and dad just because they really did feel like a mom and dad to me that I never had.
Yeah.
And she said charity. And I said, oh, well, you must know my mom and dad. I said, they kind of like helped me through my life. I lived with them. And she looked me head to toe. And she said, what happened to you? So she was looking at my clothing.
Yes.
And I knew then that in my heart that I did the right thing for me.
Right.
Because that's what I was doing. I was looking at what you were wearing, saying, oh,
yes,
you're not going to heaven.
Right.
And, that's weird. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We're not looking at our hearts,
right.
At each other's hearts. And nobody can,
Right.
nobody can look at what I'm wearing or what you're wearing or even what we're going through.
Right.
I mean,
and it's not who you are. Like, you see people for who they are.
And I was just reading, the main thing we need to do is to edify.
Yeah.
We need to edify. We need to lift each other up.
Right.
We need to, there's so much like heaviness.
Yeah.
In so many lives, even like in the other podcasts with the women that, obviously my story is different, but just the heaviness of, because people aren't able to share what is happening in their life. They're hush hush. It's quiet. Yeah. They're not, they're afraid because this is all they've known. If they
afraid of being judged, maybe too.
Oh yeah, the judging, that is such a big deal.
And we're all, I believe, just striving to find a place to belong in this world, right? All of us.
Yeah.
We want to be known. It's what's right about us, and just to have connection. And I look up to you in that, as I would say, Jamie, you are a woman who leads out in that so beautifully. And that's why I see in your timeline all along, like you have lived, there's not much you haven't lived. And you have intuitively all along been such a example of authenticity. And from my own craving, coming from a lot of mask wearing and performance and, fear of being authentic, because authenticity wasn't always accepted where I came from. It was more, I was terrified to be who I am. And I think I seen that in you within 5 minutes of meeting you. And I was like magneted to that authenticity, because I'm starving for that in my relationships. And I strive daily to show up in that authenticity as I'm learning to take off the mask and be who I know I am.
Yeah.
And I have found how when I surround myself with other men and women who are living more in alignment with that true sense of self and who you're created to be, it's easier for me to show up that way.
Right.
It's contagious.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate that about you so much. Anyways.
Yeah. So to edify is that's like I want to share joy. I want to share happiness. The joy that I found in my own self is like, it's a daily thing that we have to show up for our own selves. You know, when that lady looked me up and down, I said to myself when I left the bank, I said, Lord, I was probably just talking to you. And
Huh.
she, and
Mm.
I mean, maybe I'm sure she was raised that way, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. It's only that she was looking at what I was wearing. I remember sharing that with a preacher one time, that the same story, and he said he was going to preach on the law that week, and could he use that story? And I was like, oh yeah, I'd be honored. I mean, it
Yes.
just, I only shared for because of my own self, because I needed a clarification, like, that I was doing the right thing in my own self, because I wasn't sure.
Right.
I mean, because I trusted and do trust the family I was living with, and I love them and respect them so much. And when you're young, you're just like, you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing, you're following the right way. And what if I'm going the wrong way? What if I'm making the wrong decision? But as we become older, we need to like be sure in our own selves. We need to trust our own judgment. Like, okay, I'm a big girl now. I can like, and if I'm making the wrong decision, we know in our heart, like, okay. And if we don't, it's not going to be that bad that we can't go back, or tweak or whatever to say, okay, I went off a little bit. Just like when we go drive down the road and there's like, okay, you go left or right. We don't have a GPS. Which way is right? Which way is, okay, let me go right. Oh man, this is a dead end. Okay, turn around. It takes time, but we'll eventually get on the right path.
Right. Yeah.
The plane crashed. I was devastated. I lived with them, and Vonnet took that off. I had started working at Landis Nursing Home. Now I've never drank before all of this. I might have had,
Okay.
some drinking, but I never wanted to be like my mom.
Sure.
I I worked at a nursing home for like 7 years. I wanted to be a nurse. And then I went out with a guy, and a younger guy, and he said, "Let's have some wine." And I don't drink. And he's like, "Oh, just, one glass of wine." Well, one turned into, that weekend I went and bought a box.
Yep.
It was that fast that I started like down a path of no return at that point. Um, uh, I'm not sure if it's a gene or if it's if hereditary. All I know is I kept drinking and it didn't stop. I right away got a DUI. Probably within the first year of my drinking, I got one DUI, and then it progressed to 7 DUIs. I went to jail twice. Um, Once for 6 months, once for 3 months. I did get on work release because of having a cleaning service. I had a business that I was able to pay to get out of jail to go to work every day. But then I had to pay a driver, and I had fell down the stairs and broke my jaw, had to have my mouth wired shut for a month
Mm.
because of drinking. Drinking caused a lot of pain. I had gotten married. I was married for 7 years. My husband was a truck driver, and he really wanted to have children, and I couldn't have any. I found out that I had chlamydia that I'd gotten at a young age by having sex with somebody. A guy can pass it to a
Mm.
girl, and then it destroys your fallopian tubes.
Okay.
So I had no idea until we had went to get checked. He wanted children so bad.
Mm.
And the drinking really elevated then when I found out. The doctor came in and said, "You can't have children because you have chlamydia, but you can adopt," and that would have been great. But
Mm.
this man wanted children, like he wanted his blood. And so soon after that news that we got, probably about 6 months after that, there was a note when I came home that said he had gotten somebody pregnant and that he was leaving me.
Mm.
And so again, with the self-esteem,
Yeah.
that was another blow to like, who am I? Let's just drink some more. I can't have children. I can't keep a man, you know,
Mm.
even though I knew that I had that, gift from God in my heart, salvation, I, as a woman, not understanding the value of myself,
Right.
I, it's not like actually taught.
Right.
It's not like something that you learn at school or, yeah. I mean, yeah, I just had gotten so bad, Angela.
Mm.
I'm, I never wanted to kill myself or anything, but it seemed like I was sure headed that way as far as like,
Right.
I could have gotten cirrhosis. My mom died of cirrhosis. My old sister died of cirrhosis,
Okay.
both around like 60 year old. So I was headed that way. Um, yeah. So he left, and then what happened after that? I just I was just helpless.
Mm.
I had my cleaning service that I started in '86. I've had that for a long time. I was a functioning alcoholic.
Right.
At the end, I remember like nipping in some of my clients' alcohol because in the morning I'd be like so shaky. I had to have a drink in order to function. Um, and, none of the things that happened to me, whether it be jail, my younger sister had um, said that I couldn't see her children, my niece or nephew, because she didn't want them to know a drunk aunt,
Mm.
which, I understood. I totally understood that. And to this day, I'm so grateful that my niece and nephew have no idea. They think of me as a fun aunt and not drunk Aunt Jamie,
Mm.
so
Mm.
I'm so proud that she had the boundary to say, I'm sorry, but you can't. No, you do work on yourself, and then I'll think about it. But
Okay.
and so yeah, a lot of people would maybe if they have a problem with that, I would say, yeah, stand by your ground, and yeah, the drunk person or the addict, they need to learn that
Wow.
that it's a privilege to have a family member or a friend or to have in your life if they're sober. You don't want to ever, it's not healthy. It's not good. I'm so thankful. 11 years ago, or it might be 12 now. I don't know the day, but I had alcohol poisoning, just a simple alcohol poisoning, which people would think, oh, that's like really bad.
Mm.
But all the other things that happened to me were just as bad.
Right.
That I had alcohol poisoning, and 3 days I was so sick, and then the fourth day I got up and I'm like, ooh, I feel good. And I went and got the bottle, took a drink. I was like, ugh, back to the toilet. And then I had a conversation with myself.
Huh.
So the conversation was pretty simple. It was just, can't drink again. Ever. For no reason. Not for, let's go, Angela and I are going to go get our nails done and have some posy or whatever that is. I don't know most what is that? Mosey? What do they have? Something at the,
Yeah.
whatever it is. I know Angela will take care of me. She'll just let me have one. Nope. I never, and it's, I know a lot of people do the book or whatever, and everybody has to do it differently. For me, it's no. I say no. It's never, it could be for, I just don't even, I think once we start, like saying, okay, if I just do it today, no, you don't even I don't even think about it. I just say no because it's that simple for me. You say no. There's no, that's it.
No playing around.
No. It's my life. It really is life or death. I cannot drink ever again, ever, for no reason.
So you say you had the poisoning, and 3 days later you had this conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of your sober journey.
Yeah. And every day is a new day.
Wow.
Every day is a new day. And if anything was taking my life away, it was that. It took away my family, my friends, it took away me. It's a false, in the beginning you're like, oh yeah, hi, how you doing? And then, then you're like, your face is all bloody, or the end result is never good, ever. It's always bad, when people try to and then they'll say, oh, I'll just drink on the weekend. If you have a problem with alcohol or drugs, if you can't say, I'll take it or leave it, some people could have a glass of wine and then that's it, or two or three,
Right.
but it doesn't control them. It controlled it controlled me. I didn't start till 26 or something. It was
Okay.
when I was older,
Right. Yeah.
I'm just thankful that I had the conversation with myself, and
Wow.
that I can be Jamie the sober person and not Jamie the drunk. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredibly inspiring. So you guys know how passionate I am about this work, and I know so many of you guys are as well. So we offer the opportunity for you to make a contribution to the link below. The more you contribute, the more of an impact that we can make. Thank you so much.
I'm so thankful. I have time out for women. It's not for anything in particular. I just felt like a lot of women, we don't talk to each other. We don't take time for each other. So about 4 years ago, I tried to I put together just like once a month. I have a little campfire, around the campfire, 1 hour.
Yeah.
That I allow women to come, and you could come or not come. It's just 1 hour. I don't say if you weren't there last month, you didn't come. It's just to meet new women and to talk about whatever. You want to.
I call it my kind of church.
Yeah. It's not about anything.
I love your
if you
campfire.
you just show up if you had a hard day or something happened, or you want to share a recipe, whatever. It's just 1 hour. I was actually thinking about trying to do it every 2 weeks instead of once a month, just because sometimes it doesn't work for, their time or whatever. And it's only 1 hour.
Yeah. And people, people would just show up and feel comfortable to just connect.
Well, and the one cool story is one lady, she came and I guess she's in her 70s or something. She said, now, I've never done this before. She said, my husband died, my 2 best friends died, and that was my people.
Yeah.
And now she said, I'm just starting out, to try to venture out and meet new people. But she said, so I'm going to give this a try. And I was like, well, good. We're glad to have you. And then we had another lady come, lost her husband. And now those 2 are they're friends.
My word.
And they go hang out.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is
what it's all about.
This is what it's all about.
Yes.
And, I mean, you be my friend or not. I mean, just
you get
I'm
the conversation
so
started.
Excited that these 2 people are. And that is what it's all about. That we can connect. We could lift each other up, and we can have. And it's as simple as just having a campfire,
just showing up.
Then they're like, oh, I got some porch furniture there. I want to sit on the porch instead of on the campfire. Okay. It's fine, it's fine. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I started doing. And yeah, I'd like to expand that somehow later on. But right now, that's what I'm doing, the timeout. And it's just a way, like I said, to meet other people. And yeah.
So, Jamie, if there's anybody, you live in Denver, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And if there's anybody here on the podcast that lives in local to Denver,
Alberta,
and they'd like to join your campfire,
and it's not really, you just, I post it on Facebook. I posted it in the Denver happenings, but
so they can find you on Facebook and friend Jamie on Facebook. And then what's your phone number if someone wants to call or text and say, hey, I'd like to come hang out and meet you ladies, do your campfire, just to build connection, to mind connection, community with some women.
717-201-3395.
Okay.
Yep. Just message me, and we have it once a month. Like I said, I'm thinking about having it twice a month just to make it more available for other women. And
comfortable place. Well, Jamie, I know for you, you've been, you just been a inspiration in so many ways. And I want to say that you are a mother of many. And I'm honored to have been one of the women that has felt nurtured, respected, seen, and loved by you as a female figure in my life.
Oh.
And I know I'm not the only one.
Thank you.
We have Rebecca and handfuls, your clients. You have a cleaning business and you serve and nurture people every day. I've never met anyone that nurtures and serves quite like you do.
Thank you.
And
Well, it's from being empty. It's from not, because if I don't have anything, meaning that I didn't know who I was and I was empty and I was searching. So in finding myself and still finding myself right now,
right,
you want to give to people what you don't have.
Right.
Meaning and I get so much from you. That's what the connection of time out is for, that we can all grow from each other and lift each other up if I'm weak and you have something that you can give to me, then I can be like, I see what she's doing. I want to do that. I want to be like her. So that's what it's all about, to edify and to love and to build each other up. And it's such and even if I only see you every 4 months or whatever, it's just that when we do, we catch up where we left off. And yeah, just to see whatever posts you have, I'm like, there's my girl, and just to see you bloom as well. That's what like I said, that's what it's all about, to love and to keep our connections going and to lift each other up and to know that there's hope. There is hope.
Wow.
Yeah. Every day there's hope. There's somebody that will help you in whatever situation you're in.
Right.
And I know that I have found my hope in Jesus Christ, and I've found my hope in people like you. If it wasn't for you, however many years ago, I wouldn't be in this chair right now having this connection with you. We found each other in a hope that we could be a better us.
Wow. Thanks, Jamie. Mm-hmm. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having me. I love you.
So if you're looking for ways you can support our podcast, you can leave comments, like, and share on our social media, as well as leave a donation in our bio. We have a link here where you can donate to the podcast. We also make reviews available here on our Facebook page, so give us a feedback review. It would make a huge difference. Thank you guys. Love you so much. See you next time.